Upper Meherabad.
Right.
Baba's Samadhi. Right. So we'll even talk about that there. Okay.
Oh, we can talk about the Samadhi. Let's do that.
Okay. So what we do when we clean is we cover the marble. No one's allowed up there anymore. Yeah, don't leave it there for a minute. No one's allowed there anymore. Up in the upper part.
Really?
That's the upper part. No, only on the upper part is where the marble is. It's up about this high. It goes back. No one's allowed up there anymore. Only the lower part. And that's been a long time. And now Ted 2 years ago he did a trial run. He made, because the number of pilgrims are increasing so much that it's hard to get everyone in on the 31st that has a number now. It's very difficult to do. You have to go faster. And so what Ted has made is the most beautiful teak wood railing that goes right across here, right in front here, so you cannot bow down there. You cannot bow on the marble anymore during Armatithi. You have to reach over the railing to put your garland, and then you're out. And whereas someone bowing down, it takes more seconds. And but India, so he did it a year ago, last July, he ran a test run, because on Silence Day, we have like 1,500 people, 1,200, 1,500 people now. And so he did a test run. It didn't bother the Indians, because almost all the holy sites in India, there's a railing. And so they just put it over. It's just the Westerners that it's a little different, because they're not used to that. The Indians didn't think anything. So the Armatithi really goes good. He does that now. Now that's going to always be there. Now, go ahead and show that photo. Mm-hmm. Now, the shoe rack was he put on Silence Day. And he put the Farsi stone around it, so that he tried it out to see how it went with pilgrims. And then right after, and I thought, oh, it's going to be a new thing there. Right after Silence Day, it was gone. So I realized Ted's doing another trial run for Armatithi, so that'll be an Armatithi thing.
So is that
railing?
Is that all the time now?
Armatithi.
Or just during Armatithi?
Armatithi only. He did not. I don't think it was there during Silence Day. No, just Armatithi.
Okay.
Because you have to move the numbers so fast.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so that's that. Do we have any more photos of Samadhi? Or one go? Okay, if not, we have Upper Meherabad. I'll talk when we get up to Upper Meherabad. Any more Upper Meherabad?
No, just...
Okay, this is at the Gaudi, and this was on Christmas. This is I just thought it was so pretty that I just took a photo. The Gaudi is the Samadhi. There's a compound, right? And there's a tin shed across from Mansari's kitchen. It's not Mansari's kitchen anymore. It's been put back the way it was, with the little table when Baba would sit on that table and eat on that table in there. So it's been put back the way it was at Baba's time. So it's not Mansari's kitchen, it's Baba's. And but right across is the tin shed that's attached to the water tank. And the Gaudi is underneath it. Oh, okay, hold on there.
All right.
The Gaudi's underneath it, and the cloths are changed. The cloths are changed every now and then, and so that was a really pretty one. I just thought I'd take a picture of it. Now this group of people here, Marge is the one with the little hat there. She's the older one there. She's my next door neighbor. She's 88 or something like that. She's amazing. Every time she's got Apple TV, she's got all these things, and every time she gets something I end up getting, I say, oh, what you got, Marge? She's amazing. She makes all these things, which you'll see something she made for Mommy. But she's very good at decorating and sewing. So she basically, the decorations for the Samadhi, this is for Baba's birthday, and under the tin shed, Marge made those, and we're just some of the people that were doing the decorations. We always doing the decorations. Anyone can help, but you have people that are always there, and that's us. So that was just under the tin shed, and then again the Gaudi. But you can see the decorations back there. That's for Baba's birthday. That's when they go all out up the hill. Okay. Now you can see that photo. That's in Baba's cabin. Now, if you want to show another photo with the ledge.
I wish. I lost that one. I'm sorry, but This is
Get me
Boston.
more of the cabin.
Oh, this is the ledge up above, right?
Right, the ledge above.
Right, that's
anyway, then go back to that photo.
This one?
Yeah.
Right.
When I would clean the glass, I have a little stool because I can't reach up there. I'm not that tall. I like to go high-five to Bubba. That's a high-five, right? But now when I come in, I always turn and I would say, "Hi, Baba. Good morning." You know, it's like a good morning to Baba. Then when I'm up there, I high-five him. But now it's also like, so it's just like it's really fun to have that. And Baba, when you look at that picture and you look at his face and you look at his eyes, so much love, so adorable Baba's face is in that thing that I love being up there looking at his face. Okay, you want to go back to the other one? Now, this one here, see, we are the cabin crew. That's Heather, there's me, there's Zara, and Jay Sari, which her nickname's Cuckoo, but not Cuckoo like crazy Cuckoo. and she works at Hostel D. Zara is Irani, it's usually Irani's no Zara. And Heather's the one she and her husband were injured. He was killed. Now, what's happening here? Hold it. What's happening? Now, normally this stretcher is against the wall. But when we change it every 3 months or so, we have to have the archive guys come. It's underneath there. Come and lift it up off, because it's very, very, very heavy. Move it over and put it down. Then we put the stretcher, we put cloths in, we put the stretcher on top. And then we change the cloths. We change the pillow. The pillow is where, when his body at Meherazad was put on the stretcher, Mani ran back and got her pillow that her mother had given her to put under Baba's head. So that was put on the stretcher and taken into the cabin. And when they took Baba's body there, because that was Baba's mother too. So that's Mani's pillow her mother gave her. She put it on Baba's head, and that's on the stretcher to this day. And so when we take it, of course, when we take it and we remove the cover, we always put our head on it, kiss it. Go back. You're over at the Gaudi. So then we change it, we clean it, we dust it, because when the glass is over it, you can't get under there and clean it. So we dust it and all of that. Change the curtains. We change the cloth on the ledges. And then during Armatithi, we remove a photo that's on this wall. There's all kinds of flowers back there that fall down because they've fallen back behind, and they only get out when we move it aside during Armatithi. But anyway, so I just wanted to show you how we change it. And we're just the normal people that Heather doesn't do much of that. It's mostly the other three of us, because Heather can't anymore. She's also a trustee. So she doesn't have the time, or also because of what happened, her head, it's too difficult for her to do all that stuff now. But she comes like she helps during Armatithi. As far as that one time during silence, she's there. And when we change everything, she's there to participate in that.
She still play the flute?
Huh?
Can she still play the flute?
I never heard her play the flute.
She was real good.
I never heard her play the flute. All these years, never. I know she sings and writes, but I've never heard her play the flute. Oh. Well, you know something I don't know. I'll have to ask her if I remember.
I met Eric and Heather in 72, and they were just getting their foot, in the door, and kind of really
coming and going at that time. Ah.
Gravitating towards it, yeah.
She played the flute?
Yeah, and so either Eric or he or she did.
I'll ask and find out about. How nice to know that. Yeah. I didn't know. Okay. So anyway, go ahead now. Back to the Gaudi. The reason you see it like that, that's what they do in the evening when they remove the cloth. They have to cover it because the dogs will lay on it, because it's nice and comfortable. It beats the ground. So to protect the Gaudi, they have this every night, every evening. They put that on when they remove the pillow and stuff. Okay.
Who are the workers that do that?
Different volunteers, different people who anyone can do these things, You just volunteer. You don't just volunteer to do that. You have to volunteer to do work And then you learn how to do that, and you can become part of the crew that does that stuff. That's all. We need everyone there. Every possible job needs help. When I first moved there, it was like a pyramid. Very few jobs, and everyone was territorial. Now it's reversed. The jobs have gone out, and everyone is overwhelmed and needs help everywhere.
I was wondering, do a lot of Easterners help too?
We're going to show that. We are hoping Baba sends more young people, because I'm 74, we're all getting old. We need young people there. We have a few that come. The International Young Adult Sahavas is mostly all Indians. They run it. It started with some Westerners starting it with the Indians. Most of the Westerners have gone away, including Amber Mailer. And so we're getting a few, but we don't have that many young volunteers. We need them. Yeah. Isn't that everywhere? You need more help than.
It's getting better here, but yeah, that's the problem everywhere.
Yeah, we need help there. So I took this picture just because it's fun. I'm always up there at 5 in the morning to clean and things, and the dogs get tied to the post here at night, and they have their little bed there, but they get fed there. So when they're sleeping, the crows come to eat their food. I thought that would be fun to see.
Do they still use cow dung for the?
Yeah, that's cow dung. Mm-hmm. Okay. This was an Armatithi 2 years ago or so. All of a sudden, the villagers were coming. It was on Dooney Day. So I don't remember what it was about. It's just one of the pictures we found when we were going through the photos last night. And they came up playing their music, the villagers. They came playing their music. They went around the samadhi, they did, and then they came up there, and then they're doing their clinging and all this stuff, and dancing and running in circles and stuff. And the women were here, and I'm standing over at the cabin, and I'm just wanting to join them. And then one or two of the Indian women stood up there, and I went and joined them. Then we joined in, and dancing was dancing too. It was so much fun. But yeah, so anyway, that's what that's about. That's right across from the Samadhi, the Sahab Mandap. That's where they used to show that's what used to have in the early years, they used to have the Armatithi programs there, but now they have an amphitheater a little bit down, so you can have many people sitting. Okay, so that's directly across from that little wall behind, that's the wall to the compound. Okay, what's this? Whenever I'm up there, thank goodness we have our little phones now that have the cameras on them. So whenever I see anything, I quickly take pictures. Why white? What's going on? I go ask. And see, there, that was a water tower, but what it has become upstairs is where we keep a lot of the decorations for Christmas, and Ted keeps like that. The railing for the Samadhi, Armatithi is kept up there on the upstairs, and some other things like that. And the supplies for cleaning the inside of the Samadhi is on upstairs. Downstairs is where there are a group of women, they're all Indian women, and they are the supervisors to now open up the Samadhi. Now we have a routine. Again, I think it's because of something I got involved in that I was horrified about. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Well, maybe I'll tell you now. Anyway, but they keep all the cloths for the Samadhi, and they put so many layers now. And when there's a lot of people, there's like 10 cloths on there, and they have canvas down there, and then a rubber. They have a canvas over the marble. They never put flowers on the upper part anymore unless they totally cover it. But the bottom part, they put a little canvas, and then they put a rubber on it, some kind of rubber cloth. Then they put other cloths on it, and then they put the cloth, and the people are bowing down. So they keep all that stuff in the bottom one, including a lot of our cabin cloths. Some of ours we have at home, but most of them we keep there in the bottom. So they keep the Samadhi cloths, and they keep a lot of the cabin ones. So what this is about, before I forget, I'll tell you what the white thing's about, because it's there, but I'll forget otherwise about. Because I'm always up I'm an early person. I go to bed early, I get up early. I get up at 4 o'clock. And when I clean on Wednesday and Thursday, I get up at 3:30. It's funny how that half hour makes it harder, but I'm up the hill by 5. So, and so this has been going on for years. Well, before the night walk, the caretaker, and that would be like, it'd been Erica for many years, and it became Biff and other resident males sleep in the caretaker room, which is right across from the tin shed, right next to the kitchen. Next to the kitchen is Bob's room, and then the caretaker room. So they all sleep there, and they always have the key to open the samadhi. They'd be open in the morning, and then the caretaker would leave. There'd be no one there. But there'd be no one there until they started coming for arti. I never thought anything about it. And what we would do is when they would put the cloth on, then we would all, those who were early, would be there up there putting the cloth on, right? We got to do all of that. But one time on the 9th of July, 10th, the Silence Day, on the 9th, I was up there in the morning, and the caretaker, it's always a resident or a strong Baba lover. I guess I'd never been there when he opened it up, and because it was the day before Silence Day, there were a lot of pilgrims there. We must have had at least 30 or 40 in the portico when he opened it up. And there was no certain time to open it up, 5 o'clock, 5:30, whatever, 5 o'clock, whatever. And so he opened it up. He went right on in. Everyone else went following him. And I'm thinking, what the hell? On the mat, but not with the lead. Anyway, all these people were going in. I quickly went in after about 15 went in, and I stopped the others. I said, stop. You can't all come in here. But the caretaker didn't even look back, didn't do any of this. And then after he bowed down, he just left. And all those people are there, and no one take care of Samadhi. Well, there was my letter to the trust. Not to complain against him. Not to complain against him. Do you understand what's happening at the Samadhi? Do you guys know what's going on in the morning? And I told them. The caretakers open it up, they leave. There's no one there until the person who is handling arti comes. They may not be there till 6:30. So there's nobody guarding the Samadhi. Nobody. Anyone can come in there with red powder, throw it. They can come with a hammer and break the Samadhi. There's no one in there responsible to protect the Samadhi. That's where I'm coming from. Just like the stretcher thing. So Dolly asked me if I would sit up there. So I'd stay there, but I didn't want to stay there until then because I'm still a receptionist and all of that. So that's when they started this thing with the women. I started with Dolly. Dolly was one of the ones that was always Dolly. And anyway, started having a number of the women that take days. And so to this day, they have a group of women that are the supervisors. It is kept locked. They get the key. They bring it. They unlock it. They, on their own, they go in with the caretaker. And the watchmen, they remove all the flowers from the night before, because they always keep the flowers there. They remove them from the night before and take them over to where they put all the flowers that have been taken off of the Samadhi and all the graves and everything. And then the woman supervisor removes all the cloths, puts them aside, puts a temporary cloth. So they open at 5:45, and then they go over to the tower, and they get all the cloths for that day. They leave the other ones there. They bring all the cloths back. So between 5:45 and 6, you can take darshan. But at 6 o'clock, they start cleaning the Samadhi, and by 6:30, they're done, and then the regular darshan takes place. So they bring 4 in at a time to help clean. They do that now. It's a nice thing. They bring people in. They take turn. The 4 people put on the cloths with them, and then after 1 or 2, then they have them go out and bring in another 4. So people are really going to participate now. But so the The samadhi's never left unattended anymore. It's always, because you have to. You have to protect Baba's samadhi. So that is how it is. Go back. I didn't talk about the white thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I'm saying there's so much. So that little white thing, so what's happening? What's that? Well, what it is over right by the, see the steps over there by that thing? There's only a few stones, and they're kind of broken and this and that, so you can slip and when it rains, it's muddy and all of that. So what they're doing is they're marking where they're going to put new Farsi stones. So there'll be a nice path to walk. So when it rains, it's muddy. You don't have to get your shoes all dirty, except you have a nice path to walk through there. So that's what it was. It was marking where the stones are going to go. That was it. Okay. Simple little things, but to me, they're interesting. I know why, I don't know. Okay, now here, this is Mani's shrine. Meher's on the other side. See the building back there? Well, I'm going to hop back. I wasn't going to talk about that. That building back there, these two little old ladies, Gulu and Jalu, lived there all those years. Janaki, you guys know Janaki? Mm-hmm. This is her little book. She gave it to me just before I left and gave me one to mail to somebody. It is so cute. And I think it's Beth Ganser. I'm not sure who drew this. And, they were fat little ladies. And they had these bloomers they would make, and Gulu would sew. Anyway, it's the cutest story of Gulu and Jalu. Gulu and Jalu and their mother and their older sister went and lived up there during the new life. Baba had them stay up there. Kaikobad is their father, and he's the one that repeated Baba's name 100,000 times a day. Gulu and Jalu's father. Anyway, the sister died, the mother died, and then it was just Gulu and Jalu all those years, and then Gulu died, and for a couple of years it was just Jalu. And Janaki was, I spent the night up there a couple of times with Jalu, helping take care of her, but Janaki was always there for years and years and years. She wrote the sweetest book about Gulu and Jalu. Anyway, I just got that, and I read it on the plane coming to the States. Really darling. Okay, so they live back there. Now this here, Marge made, my little old lady neighbor. She's from Canada, Marge, the one with that little hat that we saw, who made the decorations. This is what she made too. This is from Mani's shrine. Look how cute that is.
Mani would have loved it.
Oh yeah, Mani would have loved that. Go ahead. So that's what, also on her birthday. On Mani's birthday, we always put a really pretty, something pretty, and that's the particular one we every now and then put out. That Marge made that. Especially love it. Right. Oh, also, see that flower in the window? We don't have that anymore. We don't put flowers in the windows anymore. We don't put any flower on there. Oh, that's those people do. Any flower we don't put on the threshold either. We don't put the flowers there. We put them on the side where the stone is. Because over time, the moisture from the flower will damage the wood. That's the purpose of it. And so if you have a flower there, there's a little latch where the latch, when you close the window, a little latch goes there. So they always put the flower there, but it's right against the wood. And so over time, so everything that's happening now there is in thoughts of preserving Baba's things for all time. And so anything that we become aware of that can cause any kind of damage, stop doing it.
Is there still the talk of a superstructure covering the entire tomb, where you won't be able to even enter the threshold? Remember that was proposed?
Oh, I think we're not gonna be able to enter before then.
Oh, really?
I think so. You know what's interesting? Just because, well, Bauji, you guys know about the superstructure. That's in Baba's instructions that a superstructure will be built over we have actually some photos of a couple that have been presented. There were, this one Baba lover, he lives up in Aspen area, but he also has a place in Newport Beach now, Jim Oster. He is an architect, and he presented some models, or one particular one that I happened to see, and I heard Mani really loved it. So I don't know if any of the models that have been presented, I don't know if they were ever approved. Bauji wanted it to be 100 years after Baba dropped the body. I don't know when it's going to be built. You know, Bauji was not the boss. Baba is the boss. Baba's the boss. So it will happen when it happens. Whether it happens in 100 years, and maybe Bauji just foresaw, or maybe that was a wish of his, but it's really going to be when Baba decides to have it happen. That's when you're going to have the Superdome. And I wondered what all it's going to cover. Monty had a dream about the Superdome. She had a dream when she woke up, all she remembered was there was great big arches. It was very open.
We're not gonna make it if we don't follow it.
Let's go.
All right, good.
You want to go find
We'll go fast.
the model of
Well,
the Superdome?
I don't think I can find it because this, the way this presentation is.
Pass that,
Let's
pass
move
that.
fast.
Past that.
All right.
Ah, this line here was just recently. What that is I don't know how many of you have been to the NPR, Maker Pilgrim Retreat back there. Okay. When you pull in, there's one building here, you pull in, you have to cross over a little bridge to get to the reception area and all that, because there's a little walkway. Well, the reason there's a walkway going through the Maker Pilgrim Retreat is because there'll be homes all back there. There's already a lot being built. And the people will be walking straight to the Samadhi. It is in direct line and view of the Samadhi. And so people will be walking through without disturbing the people that are having pilgrimage, especially when you go from 2 to 4 to 6, right? You have to go way around to walk over to the Samadhi. So Ted made a corridor. Well, the corridor was going to continue all the way to the Samadhi. At the Samadhi, there are going to be 5 corridors. At least this is what it was last I'd heard. 5 main corridors where it's going to be wide open, and so you can see the Samadhi from a long way, because there'll be millions of people up there. And the trees will be planted, big shade trees. They're already starting to plant them. They're already opening up areas. This is one of them. So when you go through the NPR and you're walking, now they're going to start it, because they couldn't do it before, because there was one farmer who, between the Meher Pilgrim Retreat and the Samadhi, had a piece of land that he would farm, and he would refuse to sell it to the trust. He wanted outrageous price. Well, finally it's happened. So now the trust owns straight through. And so this line was just put there. They're going to start on it. This is the center of the corridor. And the corridor, I think, is 9 feet wide. And then, go ahead, change it. So that's what that's for.
Is that the?
That's the NPR way back there.
Oh, all right. Oops.
Go on. There's another with the X, but that shows the, okay, didn't, let's stop there. So anyway, so they're going to start on that. It may already be started now. I told Zara when I left, take pictures if they do it, Zara. This is what's going on. Because she has the camera while I'm here, because things are so much that happens there with the little memory card that don't. What's this? This is from the hill between the NPR and the Samadhi. When you walk on that path, last year we had so much rain, like 40 some inches. So that's a seasonal lake that's down there. This year we've had so little rain. It's
Are
like
they capturing from that, like?
it's like 7. That's a lot of that's government land. It's like 7 inches or something like that this whole year. So it's really, really bad. Okay, go on. That's a seasonal lake. NPR Road is just past that. This was one of the paths. This was a path that was being made. This is not between the NPR and the Samadhi. They had to make around that farmer a pathway with lights. They had to make skirt that farmer's land. Even though he said, oh no, you can go ahead and cross over. But they knew that once they did, he could say no. And then you've already put the lighting in and everything. So they made a pathway around it, and that's just part of it. That's all. Go ahead. This is Lower Meherabad. Are we at Lower Meherabad now?
Oh, we're headed for Babaji joins Beloved Baba. So that's Lower Meherabad. I blew it.
Okay.
That's
well,
a long
anyway, what
section.
you're going to see is we're going to see in a little bit is there is now an underpass under the railroad tracks. That story is written, and the trust sent out a notice about that whole history. So I copied it and sent it to her.
Yeah, it's on here.
And
have
we
it.
can, yeah.
Really?
So now they did it, they started, I have pictures of them being built. What this is to hold the water, because they had to build these huge cement frames, and you would walk through it. And they did that months and months ago, and then they even brought the backhoe, and then all of a sudden the backhoe was gone. And then the trust said that they needed an emergency. But only just before I left did they bring the backhoes, and all of a sudden it's going to happen. They were going to do it Friday, and I left Monday, They got people start going. Then they're going to complete it Monday. So Zara, please take us and go video this when they do it. But the trust sent out a fabulous write-up of it. Okay, but anyway, that's what that's about.
So is there a tunnel under the road and under
The road has nothing to do with the Pilgrim. This is the Pilgrim underpass.
Okay.
See where that post is right there? The underpass is right here. That's the Memorial Tower right there. It's crystal up there. It goes right through here. Right? It's going right under here. It's already through now. But I understood there were going to be two. But I only saw one, so I don't know what the story is.
But
Anyway.
do you have a plan with it as far as the road, like
That's another story we'll get to on the road. So let's, okay, so anyway, she got that out of order. Balji goes to Baba. Do you want to do that next?
Well, I just want to go in the line just because it's so hard to
Okay,
get to.
Balji. When Balji died, go ahead and put the picture on. Well, that's the cold, outside the cold storage. But before that, when Balji was so ill at the hospital, we went to see him. And I remember I was alone with Balji for a while. I was just holding his hand for a while, and then they went out. Anyway, Balji died, and they put his body in this cold storage. I don't have time to go into the whole story about us climbing over the wall to sleep inside the Pune Baba Center, but we had to do that because they were sleeping and we didn't have anywhere to go, so we climbed over. Zara, I had her go back and take a look at how we were doing it, trying to climb the wall of the Pune Baba Center so we can go wake them up so we can sleep up there. Because of Balji, they were going to bring him back right away, but then they decided not to, and they put him in the cold storage because Amin and Adim, I think, were there already or on their way, and then their other two grandsons were in Australia, were on the way, so they wanted to wait until a couple of days until they got there before they took Balji's body back and buried it. So that was Zara climbing the wall. Okay, skip that. Okay, there's Balji. This is way ahead of the. Do you have any of the photos of the ambulance and stuff? Anyway, when they open, see if you can go back and find the ambulance that's following.
That's forward.
Yes, can you say something that men were buried, not cremated?
Yeah, the men were buried.
Men are buried, women are cremated?
Except I think, the Adi Jr. died in, or who was it, died in Pune or something, and they cremated him and brought him. I'm not sure which one.
Okay.
Otherwise, the men are buried. I don't know why that is. I think Baba gave them the wish or the choice of what they wanted. Can you change that, please? Elaine?
I'm changing it.
See if you can, no.
That's
See if you
the-
can find, go back and see if you can find the ambulance.
No, there wasn't any. This is the only thing I thought was the ambulance. There is no picture of the ambulance.
Okay, you didn't get it.
I didn't
Okay.
get it.
No, this is not an ambulance.
Oh, all right.
Okay, I sent her so many photos last night that she, God bless her, she was taking as much because I don't know how to do this thing with I really know so little how to do things like that, and we're so isolated. But so she got, I must have given her a couple hundred photos this morning. We just
It's
kept.
actually 215.
But there wasn't any order. There wasn't any order. It would be what I would see, and then I'd quickly go to because it was so harder to send it from the computer, so I'd go to my phone, and then, I find another one. Oh, here, this would be good. And so there wasn't any order in how I was sending it to her. And then she tried to make order this morning mostly, so, okay, so the ambulance got lost on the road.
Yes, it certainly did.
I'll talk about it. This is what we buried. This is what carried his body to his site with. This is Meherabad. Go back.
Oh, all right.
I'm going to go back to, anyway, the cold storage. You saw the cold storage and all of us there. Then that day, Jeff and Nan, Jeff Wolverton from Myrtle Beach, and Nan, his girlfriend, they had just arrived that morning, so they were at the cold storage too. We were outside the cold storage waiting for them to open it, so we take Balji's body and put it in the ambulance and bring it back to Meherabad. When they opened up the storage, we went inside, started singing. So in the very center, where 3-tier Balji was in the center one. So we went in there and said the prayers, and we were singing and all of that. And then we were singing when they were brought his a stretcher out. We sang all the way to the ambulance. They put him in the ambulance, and we followed back on the way back to Meherabad. But the pictures aren't there; they're lost somewhere in there. And so I had pictures of us following the ambulance back. And I would call and I would talk to some of the residents and tell them where we're going. First, we went to the trust, so and told them when we were getting close in case anyone wanted to be at the trust. Otherwise, be at the Samadhi, because that's where they're going to take them next. And so we went to the trust, and at the trust, first they took Bauji's body into where, God, I can't remember Bauji's wife's name. Oh, anyway, what's Bauji's wife's name?
Rama.
Rama. God, Rama's my dancing partner. Rama. So Rama and the grandkids and Marinath and all that, and Sheila and all them, they had time alone with Bauji. They had time alone. We waited out, and then they took him over to the Baba Center and had him there where people could come and see him. Then they loaded him back into that's the photo that you showed, that she was showing where that's the one in the hall, the one you showed before. That's where they were getting ready to load him back into the ambulance and took him up to the Samadhi. And you don't have those photos either of the Samadhi? So that's Mandali Hall. That's all Mandali Hall. Okay, go back to where you were.
I have it, but it's fine.
No, they're out of, go back to there. Go back. There. So this little thing, I actually have a picture of it in Hostel B where they put it together. The workers, we have this little tractor and they decorated it up, and they were taking Bauji's body out and they're going to put it on this, and then this was going to drive Bauji over to the graves, which is just a short ways over, and Bauji's grave. Okay, go ahead. Go back into the hall. Let me go to the next photo you showed. This is inside the hall, and Bauji's right here. That's Baba's chair where he sat in Mandali Hall. Okay, Bauji's body changed. These are just some pilgrims there changed. These are Baba's grandsons. Bauji's grandsons. Go back.
Oh.
These are Bauji's grandsons. Marinath, there's Sheila. Marinath is over there somewhere. His daughter and
Is there one in Ivy League?
Huh?
Is that Marinath is on the far left? Is that right? Is Marinath on the far left?
Marinath is out of sight.
Oh, all right.
He's in another photo that you may not have. And that's back on that little tractor thing where they put Bauji's body. Okay, go. When they put it there. Now this is at the grave site where people came. And show another picture, see if you've got it there. That's the grave site. Okay, this here, there's pictures of, I don't know how many you got of that. But this is the dirt, when they put Bauji in there, we passed the dirt to fill it. That's how we did. Go ahead, change it. This is after it was totally filled, all the flowers, and this is Bauji's grave. Now, of course, they wait a year before they put the marble over it because I guess it has to settle. Okay, that's how it looked. When everyone left and everything, that's how it looked. You see the big thing of flowers. That's Bauji's grave. Okay. Oh, that's earlier before he was put in. Well, you had to actually put him down in there, see? Before it was filled with dirt. Right. Okay. Lower Meherabad. Here's the Dooney.
Lots of them, so.
And, okay, swing it. That's just some crowds there. We get a lot of people at Dooney now.
Is it always on?
Now this is back to, these are, see this frame here? This is back to the underpass for the pedestrian underpass and railroad tracks. We didn't have time to coordinate the photos, so she went back to, this is how they made the frame, and then they would build it, so it would be this high. That's how they builded it with the cement, and they keep wetting it. So they had all these big structures, and then they put them up, and they get a backhoe and they push it under. They have to stop the train for a few hours. No trains can go through while they remove all the dirt, and it's only the tracks there. And they put these huge cement things in, which the trust, if you have that trust letter, I don't know, that they send out Tavern Talk, it shows all of that.
All right, yes, when we get to that.
There's Jal, we'll go back. Jal, it's difficult for him to walk anymore. So he'll often be on a wheelchair. Anyway, so what happens now, go back. now go to what you just did.
Forward?
So Schroeder, forward to what, there's Schroeder, he's the chairman of our trust. So basically, he's in charge of, he lights the Dooney now because it's hard for Joel.
Do you do it only on the 12th, whatever
Yes.
day of the week it is?
12th.
Yeah.
That's what Baba said.
Yeah.
Okay. What this is the young adult Sahavas. The Indians, they make these beautiful rangolis. It's just something they do. The Indians do. There's one particular Baba lover extremely good at it. And this was just some of their art. And that's why I did that. I took that because it was so beautiful. They were there. And this is some of the young adults performing. That was in June, I think. Okay, go on. Oh, this is, wait, go back to what you were. That's Dolly's interment. That's the Dolly's house.
Oh, I got that separate.
Okay, that's Dolly's. What this is some skip it. This is, we have a crew. Okay, those are back to the Dooney. That other crew, okay, back to the Dooney. This is
Mayor Colony is where the Dolly.
where Dolly is, and we just have a photo out of it. That's, she couldn't reverse it. That's the thing that went over Dolly, over her little tomb there. It's that Joel and Dolly's house.
She's buried at Meher Colony?
Meher Colony is where they live, right down the hill from the Samadhi. Yeah, right down the hill from the Samadhi. Okay, now stop.
All right, well,
This is painted inside. I don't remember who painted it. I don't remember. No, that's Nan. She's a great artist. Maybe she did it. But this is in Joel and Dolly's house
Okay.
in front. They're
So
over on
that's
one
where she's
side.
buried?
That's where she's buried. Okay. And that was a little table where they garland Baba's photo. There's Hardeep. There's Cuckoo again. Okay, go. That's putting some flowers in. Go. There's Mera. I don't know if Mera. Yeah, you know she had a stroke, so now she's starting to be able to walk more, move more, and stuff, but still difficult. But she's really coming along. Flowers putting in. There's Joe. Okay. Meherazad. I guess we'll go back to Meherabad later and the road work. Meherazad, now this is the blue bus. Now if you guys have gone to Meherazad, there's Mandali Hall where Baba's chairs and where Baba sat all the time with the Mandali. The blue bus is where they traveled with it, and then when they brought it to Meherabad, what was left, they have it there. The bed inside is the bed Baba dropped the body on. Now, I don't know if you know that, in his room, that bed that was there, there's a story that Baba wanted a different bed. And so Duncan, I think it was Duncan, found an old hospital bed and was fixing it up. And this was in January 1969. Baba's very anxious. What's taking him so long? Why isn't he bringing this bed? What's happening? You know, Baba's getting nervous as the days are getting closer and closer to the end of the month. Baba's very upset that the bed hasn't been brought. Finally, the bed is brought. And they take Baba's bed that's in there, his bed, they move it out and they put this there, and Baba is on this bed, and a few days later he drops the body. So it became after the internment and darshan, they come back and they realize why Baba was so upset. He didn't want to drop his body on his bed. Because Mera, all those years, walked Baba to the mills, served Baba. They sat there, they talked with Baba, they sang with Baba, they prayed with Baba in that room, on that bed. If Baba dropped that body on that bed, imagine the pain every single time Mera went in that room. It would have been unbearable. To spare, his love for Mera was so great that he wanted a different bed to drop his body on. Well, so that bed, so when after they took Baba and they came back, they moved that bed out and put his other bed back. That went into the blue bus. That is my favorite place. When I go to Meherazad, even if I have to choose between taking darshan in Mandali Hall or the blue bus, I'll go into the blue bus. I go in there and I feel like I'm melting in bliss, literally. I put my head on that bed and I don't want to move. It is so, the absolute bliss of being in it. It's so powerful, so powerful. I just love it. I love being in there. Anyway, so I'll take my darshan there, then I'll hurry over, because I help out at Meherazad, so I'll hurry over to the women's side, and help out. To get ready for pilgrims, we have to take because everything's darkened and archived now, so everything's darkened in all the rooms. You have to remove all the cloths, all the covers over the windows, put out the things, open the windows and all that, turn on the lights and all of that. So I go over there, I try and get there in time to help out with all of that, and then after the pilgrims leave, we cover everything back up. So I hurry. That's why I have to sometimes just choose one or the other. I don't have enough time to take Darshan both places.
This is about Mira's birthday and how. And
Oh, Mira's birthday, right? Bob always honored her birthday, and so we had always on her birthday we always had the special arti, and the women only used to come to Meherabad. But after all the mandali went, we still had the morning arti, but that was a special thing. We didn't do anything more than that. We always had a big Christmas program. This will be the last one you'll see at Meherazad. As after Mary went, they stopped doing plays and other things there and just had the carol singing. But they're not going to do that anymore. This was the last time. This year, there's not going to be a Santa. I just found all this out. They're going to be doing everything for Baba's birthday and for Mira's birthday at Meherazad now. Not for Christmas or any other religious holiday. So there won't be a Santa, and I was telling him, what about those little bags of candy that Santa would give out? And they're saying that, Mommy, are we going to get those anymore? I mean, I'm always taking candy when I go so they can put them in the bags and stuff. Are we going to get them? I mean, everyone looks forward to getting those things from Santa. And I said, well, what's going to happen? And they said, no, we'll give them out. I don't know if she said Mary's, I think Baba's birthday, they'll be giving them out now. People will line up and they'll get them for Baba's birthday. I said, oh, good. I like those little bags, and they're a little thing. Okay, this was that. That was one of the last.
I'll tell you, right now we're at 1 where we usually
Gone.
close.
Okay.
So I'm going to go through the railroad and the.
Okay, let me say what this is, though.
All right, go ahead.
Merwan, Erish's brother, Merwan and Manu, they have those two right across from Erish's room. Was that his room? And then right the little doorway to Manu's room. Well, apparently, originally there was a wall there, so they're putting the wall back. That's what's happening. They're putting the wall back. Go. See, there's the wall, putting it back, where they made the doorway when Marwan and Manu came. Oh, here, the wall of Meherazad. Meherazad finally settled the battle between the village and property boundaries and stuff, and they put a cement wall. So there's a cement wall. There's the guys putting the barbed wire above the chain link. So that's now you'll have all of Meherazad is fenced in. Just part of it is a brick wall. All the rest is chain link fence. So all of Meherazad is fenced in now. So that's what that is. See there. This is what I saw when I first went to Meherazad, the first day of Meherazad, Pilgrim Day. Driving down the approach road, you can see the wall there. That's where the buses go. Turn right, and that's where the buses go. So that's what that is. Changes. Okay. This here was a sign they're making right at the entrance to the approach road. There was a big piece of property that was government. It's been given to the trust and the condition of what they do. That's bad. So they made a school there, and they're going to be doing a clinic there. And the school, those were the signs for the school. And they're they're helping the students have English and I think computer classes and stuff. So it's up and running, but they haven't built the clinic yet. Okay, because they only settled that one person.
How far is that clinic going to be from the clinic that's at Meherazad?
Well, I don't know to what extent this clinic is for what kind of clinic or anything. It's just part of the agreement, and that fellow. The guy who would give them all this trouble about the approach road and all that land, now he was starting on this thing, saying that this belonged to this villager and they had to go to court and prove that villager didn't own that land, it was government land. I mean, this guy's just nothing but trouble. But one of the things he said, well, you haven't built the clinic yet. Well, they just settled it like 2-3 months ago, and they've already built this building, or however long ago it was, so it's functioning. Now they have to start building the clinic. But this is the problem, guys.
How far is it from the clinic that's at Meherazad?
Well, the clinic is a mile or a kilometer behind Meherazad. This is at the entrance of the approach road.
Okay, thank you.
And I don't know what extent it's going to be. There's not been time to talk about it. truss work. Now that's just, we already did that, that's me cleaning inside. We only allowed to, they only open it, we clean inside, we clean the whole Joffrey and the inside of the table house only for Silence Day, so we do it a couple of days before Silence Day. That's the one time it's open a year, that thing to go in, okay. This is surveying up the hill. This family had battled the truss has land up there. And for years, they finally settled it, and they had the survey guy. Now the survey guy's putting his fence around.
Are we back to Meherabad?
This is Upper Meherabad, yeah, they're
Yeah.
just mixed up. Okay, go. Railroad work, oh, here we go. Here's the letter, and apparently in 1927, Baba originally approached to asked for a passage, an underground passage this is 1927 when Baba had his ashram there, asking for an underground passage. So now it's just happened. And if you can go into jbaba.com or just go to Tavern Talk, and you can find this whole story. We don't have time to go into it. Huh?
90 years ago, he started the process.
Yeah, he started. There's the backhoe digging to put it through. There's the backhoe.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. There's the big cement things lifted up. See them how they had to stop all the rail because they removed all the dirt. They put in those slabs and then they put it through, and there's the first train passing through. So there's the underground passage.
Wow.
That happened on the day I was leaving. I couldn't be there. Okay, highway work. They're putting a 4-lane highway where the road in front of the MPC is, in the Doomy, 4-lane. It's cement. It is put on by the government. They are going so fast. See, they cut the tree down there. The problem at first was that they were going to cut down all 4 of the neem trees. The one in front of the Doonie, the one where Baba sat under, and the one across the street that they did cut. And then the other one is just a stump because bugs killed it. And they finally got the road commission to agree to move the road over a little bit so that they can save the tree in front of the Doonie where Baba had the table house and save the tree that Baba first sat under near the Saints' tomb. So they agreed to that. That's what, there'll be a white line if he'll show it to you. But no, just a minute, hold it. Go back to the tree. So the tree, when I was going by, I just seemed to be passing by and I see anything happen, I stop and get my camera out and go. They were cutting the tree, that tree you saw. So I went over and I took pictures, and then I grabbed 2 pieces of the branch. When I went back to my car, I started crying because it was Baba's, all of a sudden I couldn't stop, it just was crying and crying and crying. The Baba's tree was cut down. But one of the Tavern Talks, and I don't have it, but you can go in and get it. We have one of the residents there, Mark. They dug deep down from the stump before the stump was removed, and they took way down by the roots. If you take some part of the root, because the tree was live when they cut it, take some of the root, you can graft it, and there's a possible chance that you can have trees grow from there. So they went down to the very bottom, down to get dug way down before they took the stump out. They went way down, and they did all that. And there's photos in the Tavern Talk that the trust has put out that shows that. So, God willing, the neem trees will be able to be grown from that particular tree that Baba had. He actually had his table house there at one point in time. Anyway, that's the roadwork people. There's some of the roadwork. See the sign going up to the Samadhi? That's it. They are going so fast. It's 4 lanes. And there's a wall at the end of each side, so it's a wall this high, and they're making a walk on that side. That's really going to be a good road. And but how do we cross it? How do you cross it? All these thousands of pilgrims, huh?
Are they going to put the cross light?
Stop
Stop
right
line.
Hear what I say.
Or
So I had heard that originally this transportation department offered to do a tunnel under Meherabad property.
Right.
But it was stopped because talking with the villagers, there's so much concern. 1, drainage during rain. 2, the safety of women going through there and children walking through there. They were concerned of the safety. They decided that's not a good idea. What's going to happen? And at one point in time, they had survey guys. I lived down this dirt road, and back down there towards the hospital, and the doctor's quarters is there, and Hostel A, and I'm down there. That road goes over to the paved road that goes to the Barkwa School. They were going to have that be the detour.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, and it was going to take a year.
Oh my God.
They were going to do a detour through Meherabad.
Oh.
But then I hear that didn't happen. What they're going to do, and they agreed, they're going to build on near the Dooney in direct line of this. See those numbers? I also got that. When I saw the survey guys working, I stopped, took pictures of the survey guys working, took pictures of this white powder, and then the next day the white powder was gone and the numbers were there. That's going to be, I think, the center where, but what happened was, then one day, so the road's going to be, so they're going to have an underpass. It's going to be in direct line of where the pilgrims underpassage of the railroad track. They're going to have that in direct line, and they're going to have it under the road, so that the pilgrims in Lower Meherabad can go under the road over. And I mentioned, because originally years ago when it was talked about, they were going to let motorcycles through too. But then recently, when they decided to do that, they decided they're not going to have motorcycles go through because the young guys are so crazy. I mean, they banged into my car all the time. They got scratches from the darn guys. They think anything's possible.
So is that underpass going to connect with the underpass?
Not going to connect, but it'll be in line.
Okay.
It'll be in line. But they're going to make sure that it's only for pedestrians. I said, well, how are you going to do that? How are you going to stop these people from coming through? They said, it's ours. We paid for it. They're the ones that paid for this. And we're going to make sure that they cannot. So I don't know if they're going to put barriers or how they're going to do it, but they're going to make sure that because everyone will want to go through there. All the motorcycles want to go through that, and they'll run into pilgrims all the time because they don't take care. They don't take care. So they're going to fix it so that they can't. Will they put those spikes for tires, or I don't know what they'll do, but they'll fix it so that they don't use it. And then anyway, so they're going to be making
turnstile where just people can get through.
I don't know what they're going to do because you have, right now for Armatithi, our numbers are up like 25,000, 30,000. And it'd be really hard to have that kind of thing for that many people. I don't know what they're going to do. I have no idea what they're going to do. But somehow they have it figured out, or they're going to figure it out. So they're going to have an underpass under the road from near the Dooney, under the road, and they're going to move the substation that's across from the Dooney, they're going to move it back further.
Meanwhile, you're taking your chances getting across the road till this is all done.
Well, the road's already so busy, but the 4-lane isn't done. Before they finish the 4-lane, they're going to do that.
Okay.
But they're working on it. It's on both sides of Meherabad. It is going so fast, so fast.
And they never go fast enough.
That's just the next where the light, along that white line between the NPR and there's little X's over the one. That's going to be, I asked Steve, and that's going to be the pacing of the lights for the viewing corridor from that's back upper Meherabad. Now that's what, go back. You just passed, go back, there, stop. This is the white line where the road's going to end. Now, this is the Dooney. Further down is where the Saints' Tomb is. And all of a sudden, they saw the survey guys making a line right by the tree. And I saw Ted and all the guys there. I stopped my car, I run out, what's going on? And what happened was, yes, that's the end of the road, but that wasn't where the drainage was going to end. The drainage was going to go further in. So the drainage would have gone in another 3-4 feet or 5 feet in by the Saints' Tomb. So they had to meet with the engineers and ask them right at Meherabad to swing a little bit, move the road, literally. Make the road over a little bit so when the drainage stops there, the big, huge pipes, that it stops there. And so they were going to meet with that was just before I left too. And so that's what this is. They're cutting all these huge, giant neem trees down all along that road from the Kinetic Choke all the way through the village, and beyond the village it's already completed. This massive road, beautiful. It'll last for years because it's really good cement road. And so they're cutting down, but see those signs there? That they put that there telling them don't cut the street. That's what it's saying, to leave this tree alone.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So Judy, you said you wanted to conclude showing the tower,
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
get
let's
there.
find it.
and we need to.
There's a drainage pipe. Okay, go to the tower.
Judy, we are out already 15 minutes over. Can we go to the tower?
Yeah, go to the tower.
You have to come back next year, give us an update.
Look, we can send
You
out.
see that's with the tree. You can see why I'm saying there's so much. Oh, there's Bowji's. Following Bowji's. He did ambulance. We're following Bowji
Oh,
there.
is that it?
The tower.
Oh.
That's Bowji. Go ahead. Bowji's in there. Okay, the tower. Now, what? Oh, this is the Superdome.
Yeah, first the Superdome.
Okay, Superdome. This is
You're
one
calling it
of
the Superdome?
this. It's
Yeah.
one of the presentations.
Okay.
This was a model that was made by Jim Oster, and this is the last one I heard that Monty saw and she really liked. And what it is, it's a spiraling 7, going up 7 times around. So one side would go up and the other side would come down, but on the same walk thing. So that would be how it is. And so these are different views of it. You can see. Here's the cabin. Over there, there's the graves. And there's a samadhi. That it's going to be a massive Superdome over it. And Monty, on her dream, she had dreamt a big archway. So look at this big archway. So
It would be so
that's
much
just
good.
one of the ones that was presented. I don't know anything beyond that. If anything's been selected or not selected, how many was presented, I don't know. I've never really gotten into it. I just happened to be around when he brought that. Okay,
This was one of
that's
the
another
designs.
one of them. Yeah, and that's of course the circle, the 10 circles. This is the back of the avatar. Of the memorial tower. Everything Ted does. You know, even the flower. You know, this is the back. On the other side is the dedication. I'll tell you what the dedication is. That's the dedication there. I'll tell you this story and then we'll stop. In 1944, when Masaji Baba's uncle died, they took his body across from the Duni in the farm there, and Baba had a grave dug and they buried Masaji. A few days later, and Baba had sent out a notice that they would have a dedication ceremony for a memorial tower. It was 1944, August 1944. It was in November. I think Chanji died in August. I think this was November, and it was in 1944 at that time. It's been a long time since I've done the tour. And so a few days later, they're going to have a dedication ceremony. They already had the pit dug for Chanji. Now, Chanji had died in August, and I think this was in November. So his body wasn't there. Chanji's buried up in Kashmir, and that's where when Baba was up there in Srinagar, outside that village of Hawa, he pointed to the mountain where Jesus is buried, because Jesus, did not die on the cross. And Baba said no one will ever find his body. He was buried by 2 of his disciples. Anyway, Chanji died up there. So this dedication ceremony was an empty grave. What they put in there was they put in Chanji's bedroll. And Biff said the specs. I've never seen that, but Biff did the tour too, and he does a lot of research. He said they put his specs in too. When I had been told all this time, and I had said when I do the tours, that Baba had a list of names that are going to be on the tower. And for every name, he put a flower in. These will be the names that will be engraved on the tower. Now that list had, as his lovers and disciples had died, it had been upgraded, all approved by Baba, every name upgraded, approved by Baba, and the last name before Baba dropped the body that had been approved will be on there. Anyone who died beyond that, their name will not be on there. Every name that's going to be on there has been approved by Baba. Even though, as I told Elaine, there are people who had died that their families very angry that their name's not going to be on there. Very angry. They should be there. They did all this work for Baba, Baba this and Baba that for them, and then, why isn't their name? But they are safe because Baba did not approve that. He approved the last of the names, and then he dropped his body, so there will be no more names. They will be on the base of the tower. So, at this time in 1944, there was already a list. And for every name with a flower. Now, Peter Nordine. Do you guys know Peter Nordine?
Yes.
Love Peter. He's so funny, first of all, because he's great at imitating Padre. But when Peter, even though I've been doing the tour for years, whenever Peter would do it, I'd follow him. When he'd come, I had 6 hours of Peter giving the upper and lower Meherabad tour. And when we got to this part about the grave, Peter says, "Ha! Baba didn't put a flower in." Padre said Baba was too frugal to put a flower in for every name. He put a rose petal. But the story goes a flower. But, Padre, as I said, is a rose petal, not a flower that he would put for every name. But isn't that funny? Baba was too frugal to do that. So anyway, so it was there. And Baba said, and this is basically what the dedication's going to say. The dedication's right over here. You saw the back of it. That's just I've been videoing this the whole time it's been being built. And I've interviewed Ted and the whole story and the model. And I would always take people over and show them the model, tell them the story, and then that. So we got that all on tape. Haven't brought it here yet, because they're not quite done. The names have to be inscribed on it yet. So Baba said that basically, I'm summarizing what he said. On this site, on these graves will be a memorial tower built to dedication to my lovers. On it will be their name will be inscribed on it. It will not be for their own glory, because they cared nothing for that. But for those who come and see and read their name, it is because of the life of love and service that will inspire those who come. And that is basically what the whole thing says in summation.
How about Colonel Esirati's name?
His name is on there.
And he was the guy that opposed Baba.
His name is on there, and he brought a lot of people to Baba. Baba said he did great work for him. And now, when Dottie Carawala was dying, I went to see Dottie, because all of a sudden, around the tower near the substation, there was this real good chain link fence that was being put up. Before that, it was just barbed wire, so I'm curious, why the chain link fence? So when I'm going to Pune, I go see Dottie. I saw him in the hospital, and then he was brought to the apartment, and Roshan Carawala and her daughter Dolly were taking care of him. So I go in and see Dottie, and I said, "Oh, Dottie, I noticed that there's a chain link fence around, and a new chain link fence around part of that. What is that for?" And he said, there's going to be a memorial garden. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be a memorial garden all around. See, there's the back. All around the tower. He said, "Would you like to see the design?" I said, "Oh, yes." So Roshan or Dolly went and pulled out a drawer and brought this over to Dottie, and he showed me it and was talking about it. He said someone else is going to have to finish it, though. And then a few days later, he died. So right now, that's Huey doing the prism. The tower is 56 feet high. The top is 7 feet. There, see how high it is? The prism, it's an incredible story about that. We do not have time to do that. But finally, at a last desperation, Ted got a company in China, because no one wanted to touch making a glass, a one-off structure. They weren't going to make any money from that. No one wanted to touch it anywhere in the world. In this company, that's the gate that's going to be. So, but he found this company in China that first denied they would want nothing to do with it, because they weren't going to make any money on it. After pleading with them and telling them the story, they agreed to do it. So this came from China, and it's at the top. Now, the tower, the grid is copper. Deep down into the whole grid under the tower is copper, and then there is a copper wire. And the glass has a prism inside. You saw Huey working on it. And what happens at the top is when the sun crosses the heavens during the day, the prism with the mirror reflection, it casts a rainbow all across the tower. And the tower, the design of the whole base of the tower and the whole walkway is exactly the logo of the Mastery and Servitude. And if you Google it, in a line from the middle of the dedication to the point of the logo is direct to the Samadhi. And the copper going up in there is so if lightning strikes, because it always strikes the top point, it will pull it down into there, because it's all copper. There is also an opening. There's an opening, you can't see it there. There's the grid. And there's an opening right here. There's fiber optic wires. and they will go in, so at night it's lit. So you'll see the glass prism at the top is lit at night. You'll see that light. It's going to be.
Sounds pretty spectacular.
It is amazing to watch it being built. I tell you, that's why I always ended the tour there. And still now, Ted wanted me to go up to the very top. But when they were getting ready to put the last piece, they had, because you can see how rickety that is, they had this little thing you pull that you go up on. But thank God I happened to be out of town at that time. He wanted me to go up there and take the picture video of Ted and that on there. I said, up there, Dad? 56 feet up there, right, on a rickety bamboo thing. But he went up, so anyway, that's it. But that's how they would lower it. And even the middle pipe came from Mumbai, and the marble, I think, came from Makrana, and the stories, all these stories are fascinating. And we all have it all captured, and Ted has talked all about it. So the whole story of that, it's a lot of people don't know about it. I'm surprised how many residents don't know about it.
Judy, you've got more and more and more and more fascinating stories, which means no more avoiding us when you come to the U.S.
Yeah.
You gotta come here, because we have so much more that we want to hear
There's
from
so
you.
much to
Wait,
share.
Judy, I'd like to ask a question. Those three things that were sent to you when you just arrived.
Humiliation, embarrassment, and shame.
Right. Now,
I know them well.
When you leave Meherabad and travel on a plane and traveling to the States, has that affected your personality with strangers?
It changes you inside. It changes you inside. You're not the same person. When you are continually being humiliated and embarrassed and shamed, it brings, and you never know when it's going to happen. You know, you get sideswiped from it. What it does is it cements your relationship with Baba and makes it the only thing that matters. Not all this barking. Everything, I remember Audie used to say, and I really like that, let things be like barking dogs, just don't let them bite you. So all this criticism, it's just barking dogs. Why should I let it affect me? It's just barking dogs. It doesn't matter if it's true, not true, or anything. You learn, you listen, you learn. It may be true, it may not be true. What they say, what you feel, whatever. You're not going to escape your feelings, but it doesn't get to you like it did. It doesn't alter your sense of self. It doesn't alter how you see them. You can just see them as, that's their opinion. Okay, there's how many billions of people in the world? That's their opinion. That doesn't make it greater or lesser. It's simply their opinion. That's how they see it at that time. I've had great joy in making enemies friends.
Yeah.
By still being kind to them, being nice to them. You don't know how many people have disliked me like me now. You know? And I also was not very nice in the beginning. Baba brings out all this stuff. I was called by some people in Sergeant Judy, and they didn't like going in the reception room. I mean, I was so unaware. I was so unaware of the impact, because in myself, I'm not feeling these things, but because, half my chart's in Leo. It's just like I'm out there. And I have a loud voice, and I found out my hearing's not that good. So that may be why all my life I had a lot. So between that and my excitement about things, I come across as like this bull in a china shop. But it may not be at all what I'm feeling. But people, especially if I'm annoyed about something or don't like something, it really comes, but I'm not feeling that extent. Just really not like something, but it's that thing I don't like, not them. I separate the two, but they don't. They didn't. So over the years, I've learned to really become aware. I watch myself, my impact on people, how I affect them. If I see that I said something and I see someone reacting, if I can correct it, there I will. If I cannot, I go and apologize later. I'm sorry, I think I offended you, I didn't mean to, or whatever. I go apologize. Or I just go say, I was so wrong. I just apologize. But it's not a big deal to apologize, it's just being honest.
You know what, Judy? This sounds like the beginning of a great conversation, and I invite anyone who can hang around as long as you can hang around to stay and converse with you. And we do need to conclude the program now. We're so fortunate that we have you here sharing so much with us. And thank you. And they conclude with the beloved God prayer.
Oh, we didn't talk about that!
Is this the Pune?
That's where
important,
Baba
but
was
you
born.
can talk about it after the beloved prayer, and then
That was
people
Baba
say,
where Baba was born.
Oh, yeah.
That's what all that
yeah,
stuff
we did.
is.
We had wanted to hear that.
Another time, we
It's
just
made
get, see,
into a
there's just too
parking
much.
lot, so
There's
they
just,
had to take it
no,
apart.
but
Hospital is
but
now
that's the
a
exact
parking lot.
spot.
It's now
No,
a
no, but
parking
that's the
lot.
exact spot. They
But
did all the
they're taking all the
surveying.
parts out.
And all those things are the doors and the windows and stuff.